Hi, so for today I have this material 2023 IGCSE Biology Paper 1. So we will be going through all the questions, and if you have any questions, just ask me straight away. And I will try my best to explain important things in each question because it represents different topics, right? In each question, so hopefully you can recall everything that you have learned at school. Okay, so first, which row shows substances removed by excretion? So first in this question you need to know the meaning of the term excretion. Okay, excretion means the removal of waste, the removal of toxic materials in our body. So based on these choices given, which one are considered as toxic materials? Yes, so the answer is indeed C. Because why? The keyword here is substances in our body, and also waste products of metabolism also in our body. What do we call the process of removing undigested food in our body? We do not call it as excretion. It has a different term, which is we call egestion, which is the removal of feces through anus. Okay, so moving on to the second question. Which two parts are included in the scientific name of an organism? Okay, so here you need to able to memorize the classification system, which is they have 7 classification. First is kingdom, and then phylum, and class, order, family, genus, and species. So, and the scientific name of an organism includes these bottom two, which is genus and species. So B is the correct answer. So I also have like mnemonic, or like you say acronyms, to remember the classification system in case you are struggling with remembering them. So okay, King Philip came over for good soup. So yeah, hopefully this will help you to remember better. King Philip came over for good soup. Okay, moving on to question number 3. How many jointed legs does an insect have? Okay, so yeah, just think of the simple insect. Okay, for example, cockroach. How many legs does a cockroach have? Yes, they have 3 pairs of legs. And moving on to the 4th question. The photomicrograph shows a cell from a type of aquatic plant. Which labeled parts indicate that this is a plant cell? Okay, so first of all, you need to name all these labeled parts. Okay, try your best to name all the labeled parts. Okay, so first, as you can see here, this Q, it is this line, this white line here. So what do you think this is? Yes, it is a cell wall. Plant cell have a cell wall where it is very turgid. It is very very strong, and it keeps the shape of each cell. However, for animal cells, they have no cell wall, so the shape are very random. So yeah. And then R, what do you think R is? So R is like the inner part of the cell wall. So this is what we call cytoplasm. It's like the matrix of the cell wall. And then S. As you can see here, there's so many S. Like there's so many small balls. So okay, think of a plant. What components are like they have many of these components in plant? Of course, they have a lot of chloroplasts in plant. Because why? It's for photosynthesis. So this lot of balls must be, yes, chloroplast. And then P. Okay, for example, you are not sure what is P is. It may be vacuole, it may be, or maybe you could think it as a nucleus. So you're not sure. So how do you tackle this question if you're not sure what is P is? You just look at the choices given. Okay, which one do you think, like, you are sure that this indicate plant cell wall, which is they don't have it in animal cell, but they have it in plant cell. So yes, obviously Q. They have plant cell have cell wall while animal cell don't have cell wall. So the answers that doesn't have Q in it, you can execute lah, like A and B. So it left you with C and D, which is Q and R and Q and S. So let's see. R. R is a cytoplasm. Both animal cell and plant cell has cytoplasm, so it really don't indicate it as a plant cell because it can still be an animal cell if you have cytoplasm. So the answer is Q and S, which is cell wall and chloroplast. So you don't have to, like, if you cannot name all the label, you just try your best to name most of it, and if you cannot, you just move on to the choices given because it might because you don't want to waste your time there. Okay, so number 5, the diagram shows a magnified image of a cell. The magnification is 360. Line LM represents the width of the image of the cell, and line LM is 18 millimeter long in this diagram. So it is 18 millimeter long after it is magnified to 360. So the question asks for the actual weight of the cell. So just use a simple maths. If it is 18 millimeter long after magnified to 360, then the actual weight must be divided by 360 because yeah. So 18 millimeter divided by 360. The answer is B. Okay. 6. Which factor would decrease the rate of diffusion of oxygen into cells? So you need to really highlight the keyword, decrease rate of diffusion oxygen into cells. So let's go through one by one. A. Increasing concentration gradient. Imagine you're doing a sports activity. So the concentration of carbon dioxide in your body will increase, right? When carbon dioxide increase, your oxygen concentration also will increase. So this is not the right answer. Okay, B. Increasing surface area. Imagine having a bigger surface area, so it has more space, more exposed space, right? So of course it will increase the rate of diffusion of oxygen. And then C. Increasing temperature. When you increase the temperature, you will increase the kinetic energy of the molecule. So there will increase the rate of diffusion of oxygen into the cell. So also not the correct answer. And D. Increasing thickness of cell membrane. Okay, our cell membrane are very thin. For what? To make sure that materials like oxygen and carbon dioxide can diffuse in and out from our body easily, right? So when the cell membrane are thick, it's very hard for them to diffuse. So the answer is D. Okay, 7. Which molecule crosses a partially permeable membrane during osmosis? So when you see the word osmosis, you always need to relate it with water. Yes. Okay, so the answer will be D. Okay, last question. The diagram shows the movement of particles across a membrane. The arrows show the direction of the movement. Which diagram shows active transport? Okay. We have two transport, right? Active transport and also passive transport. So for active transport, as the name it says, also active, so it means that we needed energy, which is in this case ATP. And also, why do we need energy? Because okay, imagine you're climbing up a hill. Okay, you're cycling on a hill. So like from a lower ground to the high peak of the mountain, you have to have a lot of energy to cycle to the top, right? So from low to high there will be energy, and when you're going from the peak to the lower ground, you don't really need energy, right, to go down. So there's no energy needed for following the concentration gradient. However, you need energy when you're against the concentration gradient, same as these particles. So as you just look at the choices given here, they're talking about which one has energy, the ones that has energy and the ones does not use energy. And also look at the arrow shows the arrow's movement, which is from low concentration to high concentration. So the answer will be A. So yeah, that's all for today's class. Thank you, and hope that I help you understand more about certain topics. Thank you.